Hi, this is Michael, and this is my review of the Bold Beans Architect Manual Coffee Grinder. Now, I am a real coffee lover, and I've been on a very long quest for a high-quality, reasonably priced manual coffee bean grinder. And is this the one? Well, I'm going to find out. This is basically completely taken apart. This is the bottom part, which holds the grounds after they're ground, and it screws onto the bottom here. Now, this looks a lot larger than it actually is because there's a plastic cup inside here. So it looks like this could hold a lot more coffee than it really does. The hopper itself can hold a little more than 48 grams of coffee. And then on top of the hopper is this plastic piece that goes on like this. Then it has an access door, and the problem is this just flops around. So if you don't hold it right when you're grinding, this is going to be opening up on you. Like, obviously you don't want to hold it at this angle and grind it because this will open up, but if you hold it the other way, it's going to pretty much stay closed. But there really ought to be a firmer mechanism here to make sure this stays closed when you're grinding. It's also a little bit dicey getting the beans in here. You just have to be careful because you have a small opening here. Now, this doesn't come off normally because the handle is on here. I can only take it off right now because I've taken this whole thing apart. So inside here is one part of the burr, and the other part of the burr is right here. And the problem with most manual grinders is that once the shaft is in here, you can see that there's going to be a lot of play here with this shaft. You can see that wiggling around, especially at the bottom here. And that is going to cause a problem because that means this burr, which is sitting inside this one here, this is going to be wobbling around. And that is why you can never really ever get a very consistent coarse grind with these manual grinders, and that's always been the problem that I've found. You can get a really good fine ground, so this is great for making espresso grind, and you might even get a passable sort of a medium grind, but once you get beyond medium, you just have too much variability in your coffee. So I'm going to put this back together again now that I've sort of shown you, and then we'll talk a little more detail about how you can achieve different grinds with the way this mechanism works. I've put everything back together almost all the way. About the only thing I haven't done is put the handle back on. But let's just take a look at the handle. The handle is actually pretty nice. It's very smooth in operation, and I think the grip part here is big enough that you can get a pretty nice firm grip on this. It operates very well, so I don't have any problems with the handle. What I do have a problem with is the way that you adjust the grind. So this little nut here, this is what tightens up and holds the handle on, and so that's that. Now, as far as getting your grind, I'm going to leave the handle off just so I can show this a little more clearly. You've got these two knurled nuts here, and so when the handle is on, you want to get this top one. You want to push the burr in all the way with your one hand, push it in all the way so that there's virtually a setting of 0 on this. And then you want to snug this top nut up to the bottom of the handle. So that's your setting of 0. You can't grind anything. Then the second nut is the lock nut, and you have to screw that up to meet the bottom of the first nut. So that's your setting of 0. Now, to get a fine grind, you're going to have to move the top nut like about 1 full turn. And then you have to snug the bottom nut to the bottom of it. Now, by moving this 1 full turn, you now allow this burr to have a little more space. And it's moving a lot right now because I don't have the handle on, but you can imagine if there was just 1 turn there with the handle on there, it would just give you a little bit of space, and that's how you're going to get a very, very fine grind. You can do an espresso. I don't think you'd be probably able to do a Turkish grind with this, but you can definitely get a nice espresso grind, in my opinion. Now, there's a couple problems, though. One of the problems is that there are no indications on here. There's no numbers, no marks. So you really have to put your own mark on there, and I just got a little magic marker and sort of put a line on there so that at least I have a reference point to how far I've turned it. So let's put the handle back on there, and then you can see that it's a little more difficult to adjust anything because the handle's getting in your way. And plus, I'm also having a little bit of a problem getting this little nut that's supposed to snug the handle on. I'm having a hard time really getting that tightened up. So you have to kind of hold the burr with your one hand so it doesn't turn, and then get the handle as snug as you can. And now we can set our 0 point. So by pushing the handle all the way down, you can see the burr is moving here. This is the other problem, is to see how the burr wobbles inside here. That is common with just about every manual grinder that I've seen. There are a couple high-end grinders that don't do that, but what happens is as you get more coarse, that moves the cutting burr further away from the main part, and that wobble just makes the beans very inconsistent in the way they are ground. So although that is a problem with this grinder, it's really a problem with all small hand manual grinders. So here's our setting of 0. We push the burr all the way in, we get this set up snug to the handle, we tighten this up, and that's a 0 grind. To get a espresso grind, we have to find our reference mark, and it rubs off because I just used magic marker, but there it is. So now we want to spin that one full turnaround. There it is. And then you have to, somehow you have to hold that with one finger, and then with the other finger you have to tighten the lock nut up to the bottom of it. And there we have a fine grind. And you can see even on the fine grind we're getting that wobble with the burr. But that is going to give you a very nice consistent grind. And if there were some marks on here to help you consistently get the same grind setting, that would be helpful. And then you just attach the bottom part and put in your beans. This hopper will hold about 48 grams of beans. And then the other issue that I've mentioned is that this slides around, so there's no way to lock that into place. So you have to make sure you hold it with this up like this when you're grinding. Otherwise, if you hold it this way, it's going to open up and you're going to have beans probably flying around all over the place. Alright, for the first grind here we're going to try a very fine grind. I've adjusted this one full revolution based on what I just showed you a minute ago. So let's just start grinding. Alright, that should be enough to see what our grind consistency is going to be like. And it looks like we have a very, very nice fine grind here. Let me zoom in. This is the fine grind, and you can see for an espresso that is going to be probably just right. Then we've got a sort of more of a medium-ish grind, and you can see the beginnings of some uneven grind there, but it's still pretty good. This is a coarser grind, and lots of variability in there. And then this is a very, very coarse grind, and that is just a battlefield of all sorts of different pieces. I just wanted to do a final little video segment to show you the various different grinds, and as I was grinding a fine grind, the burr just cracked right in half, and you can see that. So this grinder is kaput, and that doesn't say too much about the durability of this grinder. If you have any questions, leave me a comment. I'll answer it if I can. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Have a great day.